Right, hello everyone, welcome back to another addition to the guide, the Conqueror's Blade Beginner's Guide. I've talked about that I wanted to explain more in a different video in the last guide, the very basic guide. I am back. I will explain more things today about the units, how the certain units interact with other units, and the exceptions that are. So I will talk about a certain group of unit generally, but about some units in more speciality because they're different than the normal general type. So there are a few types of units. There are pikemen, which also have different abilities. You have swordmen or shielded swordmen. You have shielded units, and you have ranged and cavalry. Now, in every aspect, cavalry, ranged, shielded, non-shielded, there's always a different ability or difference between what you can do. So let's talk about one group at a time. So, pikemen. What are pikemen really useful for? What are they effective against? Well, they're effective in general against anything that's on the horse. So if you're a cavalry and you encounter a pikeman, you're screwed. Of course, Demse pikemen, these are the weakest of them all. They are less strong against cavalry than an imperial pike guards, because they are way further up the focus tree and also way stronger. So that's a little bit of a difference. But you also have a pikeman, which is called the halberdiers, or the halberdier sergeants. And these have another ability, which is they are still good against cavalry. So you don't need to worry about that. But they are more offensive, as you can see. They are shield breakers. So what does that mean? Well, shield breakers, anything that in the few details and unit traits says shield breakers, that means that this unit will deal more damage against shielded units. So if you have shield units, like the spear militia or the imperial spy guard, imperial spear guards, and the spear sergeants, they will receive more damage from halberdiers and halberdiers sergeants than, let's say, a pike militia or perfecture pikeman. So, but that means that pikemen are really strong against shielded units and cavalry. Yeah, that's true, but that's generally speaking. So halberdiers are not really good against. They're good against cavalry and shield breakers, but let's say normal pikemen are still weak against shieldmen than the halberdiers are. So you really need to watch out what you're doing with that. Then you have also, but pikemen are okay. So pikemen are strong against cavalry, and some pikemen are strong against shield units. Okay, but what if I encounter them? What do I need to do? Well, as I said before, they're weak against shield units and melee units and ranged. Their hated enemy is ranged, but shield units and guards or melee units are also very effective against pikemen. What does this mean? Well, pikemen are there's just spears. They cannot defend them really. They cannot defend themselves really good, depending on how much armor they have. So if they don't have a lot of armor, they will get taken down a lot faster than, of course, having no armor. But so they're weak against shield units. Some pikemen are weak against shield units. Halberdiers are not weak against shield units, but they are in general weak against weak against melee units and range units. So let's talk about the next one. What about melee units? What are they good for? Well, melee units are very good in closing gaps between you and the enemy. So let's say you were standing over here, and the enemy is like 30 meters away, and you need to quickly close that distance because they're setting up a powerful defense, and you want to break that defense before they can set it up. What do? Well, then you use the melee units. The melee units have a special ability, or some of them have a special ability, which is called charge. Cavalry have the same ability, but they will... What this does, when you activate it, they will run in your preferred direction, so you can tell them go that direction, and they will charge at them. So let's say a crossbow unit or a range unit is standing a little bit further in on the field, and it's undefended or it's on the open. They will start to pepper you, but they're undefended, because range units are not good against melee units. So how do you quickly get rid of that? Unit? Well, then you send in the melee units, which are in this case the guards or the swordsmen. You can just send them up, charge them in, so that the range units cannot do a lot of damage against you. And you quickly close in that gap, and you start hitting the archers or the ranged units, which cause them to quickly die because archers generally don't have a lot of armor. So, swordsmen, what are they good for? Well, as I said before, they're really good against taking out a ranged unit. They're really good against just anything from the side, so you can use swordsmen to quickly maneuver again behind someone, hit them in the back, and take them out before they can even do something bad against you. But they're also very good against pikemen, or when pikemen are not using their ability or not ready in their position. So you can order your unit in a certain position. So let's say you want a line. It takes some time before the unit actually gets in position into that line. If you quickly send in your melee units, they will destroy that line, or they will interrupt that positioning. So they don't have an effective defense or an effective attack when they get attacked. So that's really good for the melee units, because then they quickly run in, do a lot of damage, or maybe even kill the unit before they even are in position. So they're really good, also really good a counter against shield units. So yeah, shield units that are not in position yet. So if let's say a shield unit needs to form up, and you see them wandering around on the battlefield, and they're about to get in position, and quickly charge in your melee unit, hit the unit that is trying to get into position, or the shield unit is trying to get in position, do a lot of damage against them, and then run back again. Because that's the tactic that shield units are really good at. Hit and run tactics. Just wait until the enemy unit is in a little bit disarray or not fully capable of defending itself yet. Charge in, hit them quickly, pull back again. If you don't do that, or do a charge when the enemy unit is fully operational and you hit them from the front, it's gonna cost you dearly. So think about that. You're not gonna kill anyone that's ready for your attack. That's of course for every unit, but for shielded units, or in this case melee units, is that very, very a big factor of winning or losing your unit. No. Okay, so generally speaking, melee units or shielded units, let's say melee units, because that's way better. Melee units are good against hitting round tactics. They're good in hitting range units, closing in the distance, and doing a lot of damage by maneuvering around the frontal defense of shield units and pikemen. Okay, that's good. But what are the weaks against? Well, as I said before, if you rush in your unit of melee units into a formation of pikemen, they'll get wrecked, they'll get destroyed. Send them against a fortified position of shield units, they also get wrecked. Send them stand in front of a cavalry charge, not a good idea, they'll get destroyed. So watch out with melee units. Just keep in mind they're not the invincible spear sergeant that can almost take every spear sergeants or shield units that can almost take anything. They're not good against just taking an entire blunt force from a cavalry charge like the pikemen, and they're not good at breaking. No, they're not good at breaking shield units like the shield breakers, like the halberdiers and the spear halberdier sergeants are. Of course, you also got javelin sergeants and just javelin javeliers, but that's just like melee units. But then they have a few. Instead of rushing in, they can also throw a few spears at the enemy. So it can still do. Javelins are really good at just throwing their spears at someone and running away. They're not really that special compared to the melee, the standard melee unit. Of course, a javelin throw, a good javelin throw can still do a lot of damage. I recommend do that, but it's not gonna take over or change the battlefield that much. Right, so we have that's the melee and the pikemen gone. But what about shielded units? You got spear militia, imperial spear guards, and you also got spear sergeants, which are very lovely. But what are they good against? Well, as I said before, they're or not before, but any shield unit is just like a deployable wall. It's like Bob the Builder, where you're like, let's go guys, let's just deploy a wall here, and then in 3 seconds you have to, or in 5 seconds you have an entire wall just deployed out of nowhere. They're not invincible, shields are not invincible against any or every damage, but they're really good at just defending a certain position. That's why you're gonna see spear sergeants, imperial spear guards and iron cap spearmen a lot during territorial wars or during siege battles, because they're very good at holding a position and getting backup from, let's say, a range unit or a pikeman unit, because when that's the weakest, so they're really good against just deploying everything. So okay, so spear sergeants or shield units are good against everything when they're deployed. So let's say you're walking in with your spear sergeants or your shield units. During that waltzing that are not in position yet, as I said before, you can rush in, the enemy can rush in their melee unit and give them a heavy damage or give them a heavy hit before they before we can even do damage back. Send in pike militia just before your shield units are completely done with positioning, can still do a lot of damage. A cavalry charge can still go through that entire shield units even when it's fully deployed. They're shield units. They're not. It's still a movable wall. It's not an indestructible wall. So shield units are not good against cavalry charges. They go right through. And like the halberdiers and halberdier sergeants, and even sometimes some types of range units can just destroy shield units as well. They're called special units called shield breakers. Or they have a special trait called shield breakers, so they will break any spear or any shield unit that is deployed in. It will take some time still, because they're of course shield units, but they will take a lot of damage still after they been deployed by shield breakers. Shield breakers can just destroy or take down a unit. Like the halberdiers are really good at just destroying a shield wall in mere seconds. It's not very difficult for them. So spear or shield units are very weak against shield breakers, and they're weak when they're not deployed, and they're weak against cavalry. Range can still do some damage as well, so there will be damage as well. but it will still take a lot of time for ranged units that are not shield breakers to do significant damage, so like taking them down or destroying the unit. So you don't have sometimes you don't have to worry a lot about ranged units, depending on what type of ranged unit, because some ranged units are really good at breaking shield walls and some not, so you also have to worry about that. Right, so we've got pikemen, melee unit, and shield units down. So what about ranged units? Well, there are a lot of different ranged units. There are just longbowmen, there are incendiary archers, there are crossbowmen, there are shortbowmen. You got just shooty boys, arquebusiers. You even got automatic crossbowmen, which are a different type of unit because they even got poison, but that's something we'll talk about later. So there are different type of archers. Again, crossbowmen compared to longbowmen, they have shorter range. They can also shoot over buildings. They don't do a lot of damage. They sometimes do a lot of damage depending on which type of unit against you're up against again. But crossbowmen are really good at breaking shield units, which is for crossbowmen is not, or bowman is not. So bowman cannot break a shield wall, but crossbowmen can. Arquebusiers also can do a lot of damage against shield units or shield break them as well, but they also have bad shots or a long reload time or short range, but that can all be so that can be very irritating for a attacker like you. So, but what is weak or where range units strong against? Well, they're strong against everything, depending on how you use your unit. Like I said before, crossbowmen are shield breakers, so you can use them almost for everything because they can destroy a lot of armor, but they have short range, so they can almost you have to stand in the enemy's face, even do a little bit of damage or a little bit of effective damage, which can be very terrible because then the enemy archers or the enemy units can just waltz in and destroy a unit in mere seconds. Because that's the bad thing about range units at all times. They're some are good at long range damage, some are good at really short distance damage, but they're not strong. They don't have a lot of armor. So when the enemy just waltz in, they will die immediately in a few seconds. So you really have to worry about, as a range unit user, you have to just stay behind it, stay in front of it, stay very close to it, just to see from, okay, what's the enemy doing, what are my allies doing, because especially with range units that have short range, they can be just a small change, and maybe a guy that suddenly, or your shield units that are in front of your range unit suddenly moves away, can result in death of your own unit, so you have to worry about that. Of course, longbowmen are very good in every aspect because they have very long range. They have also very good damage. But there again, if a melee unit charges in, that long range won't help them anymore because suddenly that unit that's all the way over there is suddenly in front of you. So you still have to worry about that as well. So they're strong against everybody, but also weak against everybody, because a cavalry charge won't stop them from dying. A melee boy charge will also don't stop them from dying. It's shield units can, as I will show later, can just pick up their shields and just walk very slowly towards them while under cover. So they will also be almost invincible against range units. So it's very difficult to survive as a range unit against everybody. It's just it depends on how do you use your unit. So it's strong against everybody, but also is weak against everybody in what aspect. So in melee aspect, it's very weak against everyone, but in range unit, it's strong against everyone. So that's how you need to use rangers. Just use them from a range. As it's even in the name, just use them from a range. Don't come out of cover when it's really necessary. And stay very close behind your unit or very close to your unit. So, that is pikemen, melee boys or melee units, shield units, and longbowmen or archers in Dunfall. But what about cavalry? Well, there are a few types of cavalry again. Or, yeah, there's cavalry is also sliced up in a few different types of cavalry. You got spear cavalry, you got just melee cavalry, you got bow cavalry. Bow cavalry is like what the Mongols would have used. It's literally that. But you also got the types of cavalry that you're gonna see a lot on the battlefield in territorial wars is mostly the winged hussars, monastic knights, which are the end units, or they come after the spear sergeants in the unit tree. And also you're gonna see a lot of Rattan Rangers. See, winged hussars and monastic knights are very easy. They will charge in, put your strong pike units in front of them, and they will surely fall. Like, so cavalry is weak. Those cavalry are weak against just, you know, pikemen, as I said before, but they're really strong against shield units, range units, melee units, because cavalry just a right cavalry charge just goes through a shield unit no matter what. They cannot stop a cavalry charge. But what winged hussars and monastic knights are still weak against a lot of damage. So if a ranged unit is behind cover, takes a lot of shots at your cavalry that's in the open, just running around in circles, they can still receive a lot of damage, which can cause your unit to die. Of course, it will take a long time because monastic knights and winged hussars are end game units, and they're very strong with a lot of armor, but they can still die if you use them in the wrong way. But the ultimate cavalry that you can, like the almost invincible or the most OP cavalry that is in the game, if you just, that's not good against charging in, but is still good at just taking out heroes and entire units from afar, is Rattan Rangers. They have automatic poisonous crossbows, so it will just take a few seconds that they will charge up in front of you or just walk in front of you, unleash like 50 poisonous arrows in just a short span time, and you cannot survive that. It's if the initial volley of arrows doesn't kill you, the poison will surely do. Your unit, it will, if you don't have shield units, they will receive a lot of damage. It will wipe out almost the entire unit in its entirety or do a lot of damage. Even shield units have sometimes a lot of difficulties with just these rangers. So really watch out for these rangers. Just effectively counter them by just charging up with them, against them with your own cavalry, or just try to avoid them at all costs because they're so OP, they're so invincible. But back to the winged hussars and monastic knights. If you just have like 3 cavalries of winged hussars and you charge in, even sometimes when they have pike units, they're invincible. You cannot stop them. Just when you see the winged hussars, the enemy hero activates the winged hussars ability, you'll just start. You just hear someone starts just a recorder, and you just hear the winged hussars from Sabaton hearing to play, and they will just rush over you no matter what. only the best pikemen can stop them. It's really, really weird. But then, yeah. So they will just get glowing eyes. The music in the background just start turning to the winged hussars when the winged hussars arrive, and they will just charge in no matter what. It's really, really, like really weird. Which are the Iron Reapers? The Iron Reapers are like if you will give a tank legs and arms and a weapon, and that's an Iron Reaper. They can dual wield 2 different weapons. One can just bash down your shield units, and the other one is just really good at attacking your melee units. They have a lot of armor. They can just withstand a lot of. They can just withstand fire. It's just a breeze for them. Like, they don't have any difficulty for them, or any difficulty with them. The only thing that Iron Reapers are really weak against is a lot of like ranged units just specifically targeting them and doing a lot of damage, or just any type of cavalry, because they're not that strong against Iron Reapers are not really strong against cavalry. But Iron Reapers in their own form, their own unit, can be really strong against anything, because as I said before, they're just a tank with arms and legs that will totally start wandering towards you and just smash your face in with their big clubs and big swords. So there's nothing to stop them except a lot of range damage and a cavalry charge, which is the same with other endgame units or 5-star units as before. They're better than all their other counterparts. They have a lot of armor or a lot more accuracy depending on range unit or shield units. So they're very watch out for them. First of all, like Winged Hussars, they're end game 5-star units. Just watch out for them. They're really really scary. A lot of armor, fireproof. They do a lot of more damage than the Coteliers, which are just the tier 2-star cavalry, which is like the first cavalry that you can unlock in the unit tree. And again, Monastic Knights, also 5-star unit. Just watch out for them. They're more fireproof, more armor, just a lot better than standard squires or man-at-arms, which are just tier 3.5 and 4-star units, melee units. So yeah, I will quickly show you just a little clip of how you need to use your unit in battle, and after that I'm just gonna say goodbye. Right, so we're currently in battle right now. I'm currently gonna show you real quick how the battle system works, how you can deploy units. So this is your unit, or in my case these are spear sergeants. They're currently protecting me, the most important man in the world. And there are certain orders that you can give. I'm currently giving the order follow me. This will give them a slight bonus in running around, and they will automatically form a shield wall around me when they're close enough. But I also have a different order. Currently I'm using... But also have different orders, like form a certain shield wall. This is the aka movable shield wall, as you can see right now. It's just a deployable shield wall, as I mentioned before. If I press 1, I can give them a certain order. This is an order that's only for the spear sergeants and the Dempsey shield sergeants, but when I press 1, I can let them move forward in a forward advancement. Now they will be more protected against not only archer fire, but also they can move forward, and that will, when they reach the target, they will then attack. With F1, F2, F3, and depending how many things you have, you can also deploy them in a certain position. Now I'm currently deploying them in a single file line, but I also can let them form up like a box or like a circle around a certain position. So now they're more defensible against not only archers, but let's say another attack. So with F1 to F5 you can deploy your units in certain orders, and with the number 1 to 5 you can also give them a certain order with a certain special which unit, depending on which yeah, order or ability your units has. You can see I'm currently just letting them placing down in a round position, a turtle position, also well known, and now they're more defended against anything around them. They're not weak from behind, they're well protected and also can defend against, well, every archer attacks. Archers will still do damage, but they will now in this position they will do less damage than they will do when they're not in a defensive position like this. So yeah, this is the battle that I want to show you, on how to control your units. By pressing Z you can see the entire battlefield. Pressing X they will form up on your position. C will let them follow you, and V is attacking. Right, just before I wanted to end the clip, I couldn't tell you that C, if you press C in combat, your unit will follow you no matter what. V, they will attack a specific enemy or a specific position that you will target with when you pressed the button. So yeah, I hope that is I hope that you like this video. Please leave it a like, and I will talk about the next video. I will talk about how tutorial wars will work, and our houses and alliances work a little bit better, and how the resources on the map can be used. So yeah, have a good day, a good night, and I hope to see you again next time.